At a mock trial competition, the organizer divides 100 reference books equally among participating teams so as few books as possible are left over. If there are 4 books left over, which of the following could be the number of teams at the competition? So pause this video and try to work through it yourself before we do it together, and you will only have to pick one of these choices. Okay, now let's do it together. So what's happening is there's 100 books. They divide them equally amongst the various groups. So for example, if there was only 2 groups right over here, you could give 50 to one, 50 to the other, and then you would have no left over. But if, for example, you had 3 groups, and this is just an example, if you wanted to divide it evenly, you could give 33 there, you could give 33 there, you could give 33 there, but then you would have 1 left over, because this would be 99, and you would have 1 that you wouldn't be able to give to any of the teams, because you have to equally divide them. Now, they're telling us a situation where there are 4 books left over. So if there are 4 books left over, how many were given to the teams? Well, 100 minus 4 is equal to 96. So that means that 96 were equally distributed to the teams, that all of those could get distributed. And so one way to think about it is, if that is true, then the 96 has to be perfectly divisible by the number of teams. So look at the choices. So choice A here says 3 teams. So first of all, is 96 divisible by 3? Well, you could use a calculator if you like on the praxis, or some of you might recognize that 96 divided by 3 is exactly 32. And so you might say, hey, A looks like a good choice, except for an interesting situation. If you did indeed have 3 teams, so actually this is this scenario right over here, how much would you have left over? Well, you would have 1 left over, not 4 left over. Why is that? Because if you had 4 left over, if you did this, if you had 100 and you split it into 3 teams, and you were to just distribute these 96, so you would have 32, 32, and then 32, and then you have 4 left over. Remember, you're trying to give all the teams as many books as possible, where it's equally divided, and so you minimize the amount that's left over. And so if you have 4 left over with 3 teams, well, you can give everyone another book. So you could take 3 here, so you only have 1 left over, and go to 33 per team. So if you only had 3 teams, because 3 is less than or equal to 4, well, then you wouldn't have 4 left over. You could still give each team an extra book. So we'd rule that one out. And you can rule B out for the exact same reason. 96 is divisible by 4. It would be, and you could do this on paper or use a calculator, but let's see. 4 goes into 80 20 times, and then 4 times 4 is 16. So you could have 4 teams of 24 that have 24 books each, that would use up 96 books. But if you had 4 left over, well, then you would each give them another one. So you would actually want to have 4 teams of 25 with no books left over. So we'll rule that one out. Now what about choice C? Well, 96 is not divisible by 7. You could use a calculator to verify that if you like. If you just say 96 divided by 7, or it's not cleanly divisible by 7, notice we get 13 point something here, so I'll rule out our 7. Now, is 96 divisible by 8? Well, sure, that's 8 times 12. So you could have 8 teams that each get 12 books, and then you would have 4 left over. And so this one looks great, because 96 is perfectly divisible by 8, and 8 is larger than the amount that you have left over. And then last but not least, is 96 divisible by 9? No, 9 times 10 is 90, 9 times 11 is 99, 96 divided by 9 would be 10 point something or another, so we would rule that one out as well.